welcome back everybody. And this one came across, I just got home, have not gotten changed. I've only been home for maybe about an hour and a half when I came across this. Dungeons & Dragons, new OGL will be irrevocable and bring mechanics to Creative Commons. This is by Linda Codega over at Gizmodo, who has been all over this story. Her and IO9, I think it was hers. Amid all the backlash, Wizards of the Coast is pursuing a radically different strategy for its future open licensing. We got a rather nice piece of artwork there. I think that's from the starter set. I'm not sure, but it is from Wizards of the Coast. So, Dungeons & Dragons, better yet, Wizards of the Coast, released a statement today saying that the future of its open gaming license will include its core rules being placed under the purview of the Creative Commons. The Creative Commons is a non-profit dedicated to sharing knowledge, and it developed a set of licenses to let creators do that, says the newest update from Kyle Brink. We talked to him yesterday, the executive producer at Dungeons & Dragons. The decision is a direct response to a lot of the fears that the community had after IO9 reported on the initial OGL 1.1 draft. I see Linda included draft in here on the initial OGL 1.1 draft on January 5th. Sorry, that was not a draft. We can stop saying it was a draft. It was anything but. That was exactly what they intended to do from the beginning. And they plan to do it without you or I knowing about it. Well, let's get that straight. The Creative Commons license will cede Wizards of the Coast control over the base rules and mechanics of D&D to the non-profit that stewards the license, which means that Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast will not be able to touch it and will not be able to revoke it. Likewise, content that goes beyond the limit of beyond the remit of using core rules will fall under a new OGL dubbed 1.2, which will contain specific language denoting the license as irrevocable. A massive pressure point for creators who used the original OGL 1.0 and were worried about the implications of the 30-day termination clause in the OGL 1.1. Thankfully, we didn't put draft after that one. Additionally, the statement says that there will be no royalty payment, no financial reporting, no license back, no registration, no distinction between commercial and non-commercial. All of these things were contested in the OGL 1.1. I'm skipping that word. From here on out, I am denouncing that word. Primarily because they were not in the OGL 1.0, and such strings-attached contracts deliberately go against the ethos of open gaming, as described on the Open Gaming Foundation's website. There are a few sticking points from the OGL 1.1 that will continue in the new OGL, called the OGL 1.2. The biggest thing that many creators were worried about is that the OGL 1.0a would be deauthorized. That is still moving forward, but Brink says that this CC license is the company's attempt to assuage these concerns. Specifically mentioned is that all old content will be unaffected by the new OGL and will remain authorized by 1.0a. It is only the newly published material that will have to use the OGL 1.2 instead. One key reason why we have to deauthorize: we can't use the protective options in 1.2 if someone can just choose to publish harmful or discriminatory or illegal content under 1.0a. So it looks as though there's going to be a morality clause. And we will come back to that. Wizards of the Coast seems committed to having a firm stance on bigoted and hateful content. There we go again. Something that people praised in the leaked draft. If you include harmful, discriminatory, or illegal content, or engage in that conduct publicly, we can terminate your OGL 1.2 license to our content, reads the statement. While this is, in theory, a well-intentioned and necessary policy, the fact is that this will require moderation and upkeep from Wizards of the Coast. In the wake of Spelljammer's inclusion and public treatment of the Hadozi, it remains to be seen if D&D is even capable of moderating this kind of content in a way that would be respectful, inclusive, and progressive. There we go again. That idea, however, is a good. The idea, however, is a good one. I'm going to say this right now. Playing devil's advocate, let's just say for sake of argument, I agree. Okay, I really don't think. I think the easiest thing to do would be to remember that with Spelljammer and Dragonlance, all it took was copy, paste, update rules, print, money. Very simple stuff. I said it last night. As a matter of fact, I will go to my Twitter because that post is still getting quite a bit of traction here. D&D never needed sensitivity readers, warnings on legacy content, and all that other insanity. All Wizards of the Coast ever had to do with the legacy content was copy, paste, update rules, and sell, and that's it. It's not a secret. Make stuff people want to buy, and they'll buy it. If you won't do it, then your customer goes elsewhere. It's that simple. All this extra crap being done just makes some of your jobs that much harder. Wizards of the Coast, when you went full scorched earth and got caught doing it, you saw how that philosophy affected you. You didn't make the OGL to create your competition? Well, that's an unintended consequence, and one you helped fuel with your recent glut of supplements for 5th edition. Make good games and people will buy them, but understand something. This is a niche hobby, and it will probably always will be. You can't buy any more time. Come Friday, the only acceptable response from you will be that OGL version 1, with the only change being that you added the word irrevocable, you back down from the rest. It's that simple. Stop trying to work so hard to skate that. And that is exactly what I posted here. I'm going to say devil's advocate, I can understand. Let's face it, Empire of the Petal Throne, that is probably leaving a very bad taste in a whole lot of people's mouth. I didn't know anything about it until the last couple years, to be honest with you. Probably would have played it. But there it was. The author was a raging white supremacist, an actual neo-Nazi. Not just one that disagreed with you. Additionally, Brink states, what Dungeons & Dragons is going for here is giving good faith creators the same level of freedom or greater for the rule set in Creative Commons to create tabletop RPG content that's been so great for everyone, while giving us the tools to ensure the game continues to become ever more inclusive and welcoming. The commitment to create an irrevocable license under the Creative Commons Foundation seems like a good step toward making that happen, and it would not have occurred if Dungeons & Dragons creators, influencers, fans, and third-party publishers had universally come together to reject the proposed OGL 1.1. That statement needs a revision, but not by Linda. Not by Linda. I think Linda... it needs a slight revision. Yeah, because that's not a quote. I'm sorry, Linda. This one needs a slight revision. If that did happen, and understand, Linda is not downplaying us in the least, but I think we need to add a level of hero that showed up. Heroes of every stripe. Those who canceled their D&D Beyond accounts. And I'm telling you right now, don't be so quick to re-up that thing. The new OGL 1.2 license will be subject to the same kind of feedback and revision that Dungeons & Dragons books are subjected to. It's funny, because Dragonlance, anyone? No? Okay. Yeah, I don't recall Yodano ever being asked about that. In gaming parlance, that is called playtesting and will allow fans to share their concerns with Dungeons & Dragons directly. You can view the entirety of the proposed OGL 1.2 here with feedback surveys due to back to WoTC by February 3rd, ahead of the company reporting on that feedback by or on the 17th. Now, this article has been updated to clarify Wizards of the Coast moving Dungeons & Dragons core mechanics to a Creative Commons license, and third-party material will be under the remit of the proposed OGL 1.2. So there you go. Now, what exactly is in this thing? Well, remember when we said morality clauses? Yep, it's going to be in here. Here it is, right here. 6F. No hateful content or conduct. You will not include content in your licensed works that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing, or engage in content that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing. We have the sole right to decide. That's it. We have the sole right to decide what content or what conduct or content is hateful, and you covenant that you will not contest any such determination via any suit or other legal action. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen, if your game includes something some sensitivity reader out there decides is harmful or hateful or discriminatory or illegal in their mind, because apparently they're all lawyers now. You see them every day on Twitter. Somebody engages in self-defense and they want that person who was being assaulted arrested because they're such legal experts, right? Yeah. This is the kind of very tenuous grasp on reality that we're dealing with. And I'm telling you right now, that one clause right there. Listen, let me put it to you this way. It was pointed out to me last night that the D&D novels could not include any overt or explicit eroticism. Okay, fine. I don't have to have that. And the hero could not lose. The hero had to win the day. Like, it had to end that way. Even if you had to Deus Ex Machina that thing. Okay. But let me tell you something. If you look at in fact, if you go into the PDFs of the Dark Sun campaign, that was what you were up against in that society was a tyrannical regime. And they had slave states. But now, WoTC can say, well, that's harmful. That's hateful. That's discriminatory. It's obscene. Hey, guess what? So under this license, everything that came before is fine. Apparently, they can only modify the provisions of this license identifying the attribution required under Section 5 and notice of provision of Section 9A. We may not modify any other provision. So let's say, well, what is that? Section 9A. Section 5. What's Section 5 here? You control your content. So, if you want my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, 9A. We may notify you by any email or physical address we can locate for you. Only if we cannot locate your email or physical address after a reasonable search, notice via a public channel is sufficient. You may provide notice to us of your email, physical address, or any other notice by emailing OGL notices at wizards.com. So they can notify you, but oh, look, and no waiver of rights. If they fail to exercise any right that they have under this license, that failure will not prevent them from exercising that right in the future. Oh, we didn't know we could do that? Now we do. Look at this. Waiver of a jury trial. Honestly, I'm saying on those things, no. Absolutely not. No, thank you. How many pages we got here? 6? We're on page 6 right here. And they also have a virtual tabletop policy. Now, let me say this, for whatever it's worth, and I will be including the links to this. You can go read this for yourself. You can go read Linda Codega's article. I will be including links to this in the description down below. I hope that you will take the time to go read it. Personally, I say be done with it. Walk away. This, it may be better than what we initially saw. But again, this is Overton window. You're being played, ladies and gentlemen. Good faith? No. Good faith, we've said nothing. I've said it personally. To me, nothing more than OGL version 1 from day 1, from 2000, when this all started, with the only change being the word irrevocable. That is it. Listen, I understand the need to protect your product. I do. I understand it. But let's talk about something else. That hit piece from 2 weeks ago. A little over 2 weeks ago. If people weren't making things up, oh, it's bioessentialism. Yeah, that's called balanced game mechanics. And that's all that it is. It's all it ever was. If people weren't reading into something, searching so hard for something that wasn't there, that they found it in a word, or they found it in phrasing, we wouldn't be at this point. Stop trying to bring this crap into the game. People attack Troll Lord Games for the very same thing. You won't take a stand against these people? Well, you must be one of them. Yeah, bite me, okay? You know what? None of us are listening to it anymore. We're not. We're done with this crap. If that means that we have to be D and done, then so be it. I've got everything I need. At this point, do I need something like Hyperborea? Do I need do I need Sword of Cepheus? The answer is no, I don't. I don't need those things. I don't need Palladium. I don't need any other fantasy game right now. I'm up to my ears in fantasy games. But at this point, they would be pretty nice to have. I just don't have any more room for them. That's how this goes, ladies and gentlemen. We can walk away at any time, and we probably should. We should do it now. Keep the pressure on. Guess what? They announce tomorrow. Me, if I get a chance to record a video, or I get a chance to address the whole thing, it's going to be much later on in the night. Much later than what you're listening to this right now. And for that, I'm sorry, I got a real job. What can I tell you? But anyway, absolutely not. And here, I just got from my Gilded, they keep using that hateful content line. It's all smoke and mirrors. Yes, it is. It's smoke and mirrors. Nothing more. We're not all Varg because we disagree with you on some kind of political thing. We're not all Varg because we're tired of giving inches and having miles taken. By the way, about that hit piece, did you notice, Bill over at the Dungeon Delver channel pointed this out. Christopher Thomas, the author of the article, wanted to come on to Zero Options Gaming's Twitch channel, to his roundtable, and discuss it. And PBS NewsHour wouldn't let him. Withdraw your pledges from PBS. All of them. Let them starve. Let them financially starve. That's the way I see it. Close your wallets to these people. They hate your guts, ladies and gentlemen. It's just fact. And this is good reason. I'm keeping my wallet closed. I mean, it's just how it is. Nothing less. Push for nothing less. Do not come to them. Remember, Wizards, we're not part of your community. You're part of ours. And that's really all I've got for you. I thank you so much for tuning in. I thank you so much for listening. Just remember, I love you all. I want you to take care of yourselves and each other. I want you to always play what lights you up. And as always, play on.